Hello everyone, welcome back to Pommy and Alls. Hope we're all doing really well. If you are new around here, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. We've just hit 2,200 subscribers, so thank you so much for that. You guys are all legends in my book. You can go a step further, you can sponsor the channel, the link is in the description there. And if you have subscribed, it will now say join. If you're not on iOS, we do things like sponsor, Big Dom, in the VFL at the moment, and with that we are doing the VFL wrap, really. I suppose that's what we're calling it. So the guys and girls, they went down, they played Box Hill at the Box City Oval and came out 46-point winners in a really strong display, it has to be said. One thing that is really enjoyable about watching the VFL and on the rewatch was just how intent they are. And one thing that surprises me, and it sounds mad saying it, is how the ball distribution, the basic fundamentals of what they're actually trying to achieve is very similar to what Voss is. And why this excites me, particularly for the 10 guys who were in AFL playing in this one, is it's the perfect breeding ground. For too long when we were the Bull Ants, you really did see it was a total different structure. And Josh Fraser did a wonderful job with the Bull Ants, but you can see that he was limited. And it's good to see that because the senior coaching is so strong, it's really filtering down there. And they looked really solid. They really acquitted themselves well, particularly in the fourth quarter. What was interesting is Box Hill, they have always mirrored the senior side. And you really saw that real zip off the half-back line, looking to contain the corridor. What I really like about the VFL, because the game's a little bit slower, obviously you've got a little bit more time, it really allowed them to hone what Voss wants to do under pressure, which is try and contain the footy, go down the fat side and slow the game down and get it on our terms. And they really did well in the third quarter. When Box Hill came at them, they really did soak up the pressure and make Hawks do a lot of running. And that is, I think, the centre point of what Voss is trying to achieve. Be in position, don't get into position, which kind of fell off against the Hawks because of how good they were. But what was reassuring was to see against Box Hill, it in the lesser version of the senior game, it worked and the fundamentals are right. So you can see what they're working on, and it was really enjoyable. So really, it was a really good game. They took their opportunities well, as usual with the VFL coverage. We lost coverage for about 5 minutes. The replays managed to get some of it back, but we've done the heat maps. Big shout out to Robert, who contacted me, who does some heat maps himself in his scouting role, and sent me the 5-minute footage that we missed, which was good. So without any further ado, let's get into the key performers and some of their takeouts. So we're going to start with a guy that probably will be a shoo-in to come back in, or the guy who you'd say would be the favourite to come in. And he played a real strong game. He was on 6'6", that's 197 in Australian measurements, Libbojrjr, and that is none other than Liam Stocker. Now, Stocker was sensational in this game. I really enjoyed his game. A couple of real goal-saving spoils on Libbojrjr, who is a lot taller than Liam, and was, as you can see by the heat map, very much in the kicking duties. Really lived in that back pocket, played a real lockdown role, peeled off really well as well, took a couple of them grabs there just into the kick to Libbojrjr, and I really enjoyed Stocker's game. His distribution was pretty good this game as well. Struggled a little bit with the kick-ins and that direct nature of it. That was not so much his fault, more probably the fault of the lack of movement in front of him at times, but it was a really strong outing from Liam Stocker. Showed no issues movement-wise, looked really strong on the ball, looked really strong in the contest, which is always good to see, really. And I really, really did enjoy his ultimate game, really. The 18 touches, 4 marks, 1 tackle. Didn't really have to tackle so much because it's such a team defence. Really playing that kind of loose ploughman role, really, in that lockdown role, and found a lot of the ball himself. definitely will be someone that will probably put his hand up there for that role, and I like it. Next, Jackie Newnes, real consummate performer here, and I really did enjoy his game. He works both ends of the ground well, 31 touches, 7 marks, 1 tackle, really looks to be the outlet ball. And when I watch these guys play, you see how we merge to what the senior side do. Newnes really does play that kind of two-way running centre-field type role. Gets real deep, really comes for them kick-ins, really looks to impact it, oscillates down that right flank absolutely beautifully as well. Really works hard, and the key word for me with Voss and the new Quenton is the O word, overlap. Really looks to add that overlap width with his half-forward flank, and also slots into the hole when the half-back flank looks to overlap as well. Very smart footballer. Someone that I think that if there ever is an injury to Setterfield, or if, let's say, it doesn't quite work with Setterfield, he gets a couple of rough games, Jack Newnes is breathing down his neck here with them numbers, and they're real solid. And one thing you know about Jack Newnes is he gives this kind of output at AFL level. He gives that 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 game. And I really did enjoy Jack Newnes' game. Worked hard both ways as well. Real lot of running from him. And I just look at it this way. In the VFL, when you've got a pro like that who's played 200 plus games, what is the knock-on effect for the players around him? And that's, he knows what it takes. He knows the levels of fitness required. He's a consummate professional, ultimate clubman really. And I really do enjoy Newnes. And I've got a lot of time for Jack Newnes as well. Matty Cottrell played kind of, as you can see, more on the left, and he is the Lachie O'Brien role. And he's a really interesting one here, because I don't think he's AFL level yet. But one thing that impresses me every time I watch VFL is his level of intensity, and you can see clear grounds of improvement as well from him. Like, hats off to Matt Cottrell, probably not the most talented footballer on the planet, but the work and effort he's putting into his game and his craft, he really respects the craft that is football. And this game here again, look at the heat map all over the place. 27 touches, 6 marks, 2 tackles. Real strong, works both ends of the ground well. And it's interesting because the work rate of Newnes and Cottrell you'd love in the senior side. It's probably just them levels of ability, but he's someone that I think will be putting pressure on O'Brien, and I don't think Voss, Hansen and co think like the fans do. I know O'Brien comes under a lot of cosh. I don't see it myself. I don't see it. I see a young boy in Lachie O'Brien who is developing before our eyes, and I think a lot of the hate comes from a lack of understanding of his role. Cottrell really does bring a lot to the table, and someone again that I'm really glad that in the position that you would say we'd have zero depth, which is the wing. Surprisingly in the VFL, these are two guys that are really putting in good numbers time and time again, and really working their craft hard and really putting in a good, honest day's work, which ultimately puts the pressure on O'Brien and Setterfield for them to do themselves, and that will only benefit us in the long term. I really did enjoy Matty Cottrell's game. He was really, really solid. Up next, Paddy Dow. First thing I want to say, the levels of toughness from this kid in the 2 VFL games we've played, and in the practice game as well against Casey, is evident. The intensity, the doing the simple things well, this is 2 parts of the heat map I want you to look at. The defensive 50, 1, 2 the tackles, and if you go back, there's some beautiful moments where he gets really stuck in as well. Physically, the physicality of him and the class by foot. There was some wonderful outside of the boot kicks. He hit Motlop on the chest to put him through inside 50. He's having fun. Now, it comes with a caveat, right? It's 3 games in the AFL, right? So there can't be any calls to bring this kid in yet. There can't be. Because at the moment, for me, if he's playing, he has to come in and play that Kennedy role. It has to be a Chera role, a Walsh role, a Cripps role, and a Hewitt role. So you've got to ask yourself, is he better? No. Now, the role he will be looking at, in my opinion, based on how he played, particularly because he was always the guy that at the fall of the ball, it was interesting. Hayes kind of played that Walshy role, where he was the primary ball giver. Dow kind of played that Kennedy role, getting there, getting in close, looking to be behind the ball as well. That's probably the role he's looking at. Now, for me, Kennedy is ahead of him by a long way. So, for me, Dow's just got to do this for 3 or 4 more weeks and we start asking the question, what does he bring that Kennedy doesn't? And one clear thing from Kennedy is his burst from stoppage. They were amazing, caused trouble. But his defensive work is it's night and day. I've never seen this side of Dow, and I'm going to be fair to him here, give him some props. He is toiling away. And credit to Voss. Got to say, you've got to give a huge shout out to the coaching department, because from covering the VFL and watching it a lot, seeing it this year, there is noticeable signs of improvement. Dow's game was splendid though, was really solid. And you know, for me, I don't care if he plays or not. What I'm really enjoying about Dow is he's enjoying it. He's enjoying it. He's got the smile on his face. He's getting that confidence back. So for me, shelve the calls to bring him in for 3 or 4 weeks. Let's build this confidence up and see where it may lead, because I'm telling you, if he builds it up, it's very exciting from what I'm seeing so far, albeit in the VFL. Alex Mirkov next. I'm loving this kid. I'm loving this kid. Now, it's got to be noticed with a caveat before people get excited and go, wow, the hit out's Pom. He played against Cozzy, who is half a key forward, evidently a key defender now a ruck. The guy's been moved around more than SPS has for Hawks. So, didn't have much comp, but what is impressive is his work rate, and it's noticeable now that he bullied a more experienced football ruck department, to be fair. All them guys who played in the ruck have played a hell of a lot more football than Alex Mirkov, and his body positioning is good, and you're seeing the cruiser effect on him, the way he moves, the way he oscillates the mark. See a lot of them touches behind the ball as well, which is really important. Behind the ball, he's looking to do that. He's looking to fall back, and I really liked Mirkov's game. He's not ready for AFL yet, and it's a bit like Jordan Boyd this. When I say yet, I say it with a caveat. You never know with injuries, but all being well and fit and considered, Boyd wouldn't have played last week, would have had a couple of more weeks development to see how it goes, tidy himself up a bit. Mirkov needs a good few weeks, ideally a year of no senior football, but he's really impressing me, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. Real good work rate. I'd like to see him get a bit more of the ball. I think that's his role though. He likes to kind of go away. I like the way he fronts up in the contest though. One thing that is really intelligent about him as well, and stats don't give him this because it's not a disposal and it's a little bit harsh, but is his ability to tap ahead in play. There's a few times that the ball came into him, they've picked him out as the toe target, and he's just taps it forward onto runners. He's a very smart footballer. What is impressive about Mirkov from when I first saw him in that one VFL game he played before we signed him is the levels of football IQ are being layered in there, you know, like an onion with layers. He's really learning his craft, and I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy Mirkov, and I'm really enjoying watching him grow before my eyes. Up next, Jesse Motlop, 19 touches for the kid wonder, 2 marks, 4 tackles, 4 very well taken goals as well. This kid is something special. Not surprised, very shocked he fell to us in the draft. And you're starting to see it. He's building a little bit of form. And I did say last week, this kid needs some goals and look out. And he got them this week. He's a genius. He's a genius. His football IQ is beyond his years inside 50. And his work rate is incredible. It's like a Durden work rate. Look at how he drops back chasing. And when they look to overlap, working hard both ends of the ground. Started to go in the centre a little bit as well. Played out the back in the centre a bit. Really enjoy it. He floated a little bit up the wing as well, as you can see on the heat map. I really did enjoy Jesse Motlop's game, and someone that will be earmarking a place, probably looking at Owens' job. He will be probably maybe even say, you know what, look at where I oscillate. Jack Martin, please. Very interesting what you do with Motlop, but someone I think is starting to give the door a little rap of the knuckles, and I really enjoyed his game. And Jesse Motlop, honestly, look out for this kid. He's going to be brilliant. Now, I know a lot of you out there hate Lachie Plowman, and if you're looking for someone to replace Lachie Plowman, Luke Parks probably put his name up with Stocker as well. He was exceptionally impressive, and one thing I want to give Luke Parks a shout out was his leadership role he played here. Many a time watching this game is he's orchestrating where people are, and he was very good. Multiple spoil saves as well, multiple. He was 1 on 3 times in the third and stopped them all, and was very impressive. He's working his game hard. He works very hard up and down the ground as well to support his halfback flanks. I really did enjoy Parks' game, and he's really improved. And we know I was a fan when we rookie listed him. It was one of the names we mentioned. I froth Luke Parks. I tell you, he's really developing, and he's definitely someone that will be saying, you know what, this third defender while McGovern's not injured. Hello. And Parksy could be a shout, particularly with the taller sides. I think if Stocker didn't have that game that he did, which was so impressive, he may play this week. It depends what Voss wants to do. Stocker ran the game out well, though, and I have no qualms. And tell you what, Stocker playing on Whittaker says he can play on people who are bigger, because Whittaker, the Albanian beast, is a very good footballer. I'm a big fan. But Luke Parks was solid. Really good, and he really works hard. Now, you talk about someone like Jack Martin, and I said it was going to take a couple of weeks for him to find his feet playing in that forward wall. Brodie Kemp really works hard, and he definitely played that role that you're looking for Jack Martin to be, that conduit, and his work rate up and down that right flank and that left flank to bail us out of trouble, absolutely amazing. Really impressive game by Brodie. And a forgotten quality about Brodie Kemp is his football IQ. He's a very intelligent footballer, and I enjoyed his game from start to finish. He's a real conduit. He's a real link in the cog, and when you've got the knowledge that he can be thrown down back as well, I think a few more of these games and Voss is going to be like, you know what, here, I can kill two birds with one stone. I've got quite the player here. I really did enjoy Brodie Kemp's game. He presented exceptionally well. His work rate on the ground was good. Stiff for 4 tackles. I think Champ's data could have maybe given him some more. To be fair, there's some arguments there that he did impact the play with the tackle, but very good game. Probably lacked the goal, but I'll tell you what, that work rate wins you football games, what he did. Particularly a lot of them touches were against the run of play. A lot of them marks as well, particularly against the run of play, and we needed someone to bail out. The tackle inside 50 as well, the defensive pressure from him is really good in the offensive section. I really did enjoy Brodie Kemp's game, and someone who's definitely put in his hand up. My boy, Big Dom McCoy, massive improvement from last week as well. Really got involved this time. The kicking's starting to get there. There was a few nice kicks. There was a few, oh dear, Dom, don't do that again. But I really enjoyed Dom's game, and I'll tell you what, the hunger from him and the willingness, and when he puts on 5 kgs, 10 kgs, he got bullied a bit sometimes, but credit to Dom, he chases people down and he gets involved. It's like a Yorkshire Terrier. He's just there all the time, and I really enjoy it. He's really learning his craft, and these are valuable minutes, and it's great to see. Honestly, he puts a smile on my face. I love this kid. I've got a lot of time from Dom, and I'm proud to sponsor him. And I'll tell you what, really impressive day out for Dom. He worked hard all day long. worked hard all day long, and he's starting to find it. He's starting to find it and starting to get into some space. He's starting to have the confidence now to peel off his man and look to make the spoil. Had a few real important spoils as well. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing, and long may it continue. Keep up the good work, kidder. It's solid. And finally, we finish with Lock, and probably stiff to finish to lose out on the game. But tell you what, Lachie again was brilliant. What you see is what you get with Fog. 27 touches, 2 marks, 6 tackles. It was a really solid game. He was working hard both ends of the ground. Plays a bit more midfield minutes for the VFL as you would expect. And I really like what he brings. I really do like Lachie. And I just think it's probably stiff that he can get in the team. But for me, I know Martin has the name and the repertoire. I just think that you look at last week, Fog's game, before you brought Martin in, 2 goal assists. He was solid. He was in everything. Good tackle numbers as well. Do you play Martin in this? I know he's on the big contract. He's the big brand player. I know he's the X factor, so they tell me. But I tell you what, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who gives you something that Fog does. If Martin plays a poor game, I personally think Martin needs some VFL time, some VFL minutes, and just get his eye in a little bit. Far be it from me to question Voss, though. Whatever Voss does, I'm 100% behind. But just me being me, I'd probably throw Fog in this week, to be fair. But that's just me if I was between him and Martin. But that being said, I think Martin could have done with 4 quarters in VFL and maybe made Fog sub, because Fog does this all the time. But it was a really solid game, and as you can see by the heat map, works so incredibly hard on the back end as well, which is rare to find for someone. And his work rate and his team ethic is impeccable, and it's great to see. It's great to see because some of these young kids have got to get above Fog, and I tell you what, when Fog's doing that, it makes it hard. But real good performance, and we're looking at baselines, aren't we? And if that's the baseline to get in the AFL team, tell you what, you're going to be a good player. Well, that's it then. Let me know what you took out. I was really impressed with the VFL. For me, if I was picking anyone in the team, I'd say Stocks comes in, maybe for Plough. I like Stocker's game, and for me, Stocker's a freak of nature. He does a job on that medium-sized player, albeit him being a bit smaller. Remember when I compared him to Luke Hodge Jr. there, I tell you, he's older. Stocks. So Stocker was good. Parks could make an argument. And if you wanted to roll the dice, really, for me, I'd maybe bring Kemp in for Martin in a couple of weeks. But I'd say Fog probably stood out if you are debating Martin. But who are we kidding? Martin's playing, isn't he? So that puts that argument to bed. But I'll see you on Friday with a beautiful Lake Dog on Blue Abroad. So make sure you look out for that for team news. We'll see if we were right and Stocks comes in. Let me know what you thought. And until next time, Pom out.